All right, welcome back to Just Another Solar Podcast with Luke Beattie, that's me. Karl Jensen hasn't arrived yet. He's a bit tardy. He'll probably pop in at some point, caught in traffic somewhere. And we've got Jess MacPherson. Hey, Jess.
Hey, mate. Yeah, just cruising along, selling lots of batteries as per usual. That's just the way we're living at the moment.
But you've got some other news, Jess. I found out today.
What's the news? I want to know what the news is. You've been baiting me.
It's really not a big deal.
Jess is a captain.
I'm a vice captain.
Jess is a vice captain in the Surf Lifesaving Club.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm just sticking my hand up a bit extra for the surf club this year, and Luke's campaigning that I should get everyone to call me captain, which I might make some of the kids do because that's a bit fun. But
El Capitan, I like it.
But I'll do the weather report. I'll channel my inner Karl, and it is actually hailing here in Adelaide at the moment. So not a great day for solar. Pretty good day for battery, I will say.
Nice one. Industry legend Nigel Morris. G'day, Nige.
Team.
So you've just moved house. We're thankful you could find the phone to record this episode, so that's good.
It was about all I could find. I couldn't find the camera. I couldn't find the headphones. I don't know where half my life is, but yeah, moving house. Great fun, especially when the thing is, I'm a custodian now. I'm a custodian for family heirlooms, for grandchildren who are going to visit, for kids who no longer live here, for stuff of life, a couple of motorbikes and an awful lot of mechanical stuff that I don't know why I have. And, just the stuff of life. It's a lot to move house. Took 2 removalist trucks and 4 van and trailer loads to get us here.
What was that hoarding show called? What was that one?
Listen, we had the chuck out, we embarrassed the entire county of Newport with the size of our chuck out pile. I'm just going to say, we shed a lot and there's more to shed yet. But luckily we've got a good place. So we're sweet.
That's nice. And you've got the new job next week, starting with the Smart Energy Council.
I've been utterly focused on, fixing up the old place and moving out of there. So for the last 2 weeks, really, I haven't thought too much about it, but I am getting on an aeroplane on Sunday afternoon and flying to Canberra, where I'm going to spend the week, and I'm immersing myself in the world of the Smart Energy Council. I've seen my calendar just going bing, 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 bing. It's fantastic. The first day I'm having lunch with the politician on 2 or 3 days next week. And just chock-a-block agenda. Booked in for a conference in Brisbane already, so that's already on the go. It's super exciting. I haven't thought about it too much, so I'm just going to dive in head first on Monday or Sunday night.
I'm sure you'll fit in like a glove then, Nige.
They're a great team, and it's a good organisation, so I'm looking forward to it.
Just don't forget us little people, Nige.
Well, the good news is I get this view on stuff now, man. It's great. Like, I've got stuff coming at me from some of the guys on the board. I've got stuff coming at me from people who go, hey, you're in the Smart Energy Council. We've got this thing happening. We've got this thing going on. We want to do this thing. We've got this project. There's events going on already this week and last week that some of my team are already at. So I'm sort of getting snippets of it over the last week or two. Can't wait.
Awesome. Now, one of the updates from a story that we covered a couple of episodes back was around Bunnings and their solar offering. So there was all the controversy or hoo-ha, or really a teacup storm, about how SIG Energy were being offered by Bunnings, and everyone was up in arms saying, I can't believe they've done this. And Will Hall clarified that they're not actually, in partnership with them, just Bunnings elected to use their products. However, they've announced in the last couple of weeks that they're partnered with Akai to do inverters and batteries. Now, you might remember...
As well as SIG? Or in addition, or instead of?
I didn't see anything on the website about SIG. All I saw in the offering was Akai. So I think it's still a model where they're getting the leads and pushing it out through the network. But I haven't personally seen Akai in the market before. Have you guys?
No. I hadn't heard of them. at all.
I think I had a
Not really.
I think I had a cassette player back in the day that was Akai. So
They were big in the day on cassettes. I remember them well.
Well, you know, cassette players, solar
Jess, have you ever
inverters.
played a cassette?
Oh, yes.
Have you?
Yeah, I reckon my dad's car growing up had a cassette player, but it was a bit of a novelty even then.
we didn't even have mobile phones back then, Jess.
Look, I'm 27, all right. Like I'm in between enough. I know how to work a rotary phone. You know, like never had to use one, but
As a part of the move and as part of shedding, I got rid of about 100 CDs. Just saying.
I thought you were going to say 100
CDs.
rotary phones for a second.
It's all on Spotify and YouTube.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. On SIG, I just want to say, I actually was speaking to someone I know in the industry today who said to me that they had received communication from a couple of wholesalers talking about SIG's financial stability, saying, don't worry, everything's cool. We know they didn't make their IPO, and that was a challenge, and that has some ramifications, but don't worry, everything's cool. And that particular company I was talking to had said, wow, our wholesaler is now saying to us, there's a bit of risk here because they're so new and they didn't make the IPO. If you're worried about them going bust, we can hook you up with another supplier who's more stable, which was very, very interesting. Now, personally, I said, I don't think SIG are going to go bust. They've got fantastic technology. They're leading the world. They're doing amazing things. They really need to come on the podcast and give us a fucking story, I think. But it was really interesting to hear the nervousness around SIG and the fact that they didn't make their IPO.
Mm. I have seen the news about this as well. Yeah. I thought it's notable. And there was a social media article from China that was translated and posted in the Solar Cutters groups. And of course, Will Hall has jumped in there and given the company line that this is all pretty standard.
Yep.
That you don't necessarily tick all the boxes in the first instance. And those who are selling against SIG and not stocking SIG, it's given them some sort of chink in the armor because they're an excellent solution. They're the most installed residential battery in the country at the moment. So, yeah, which would make you think that they would have the revenue to weather a storm just based on the fact that they're selling the bags out in Australia, in Europe. So it'll be interesting to watch, but it is one to watch. Interesting that's coming from wholesalers, Nige.
That's what I thought.
And of course, there was another YouTube video, a clickbaity type video that was doing the rounds on socials as well, which was, basically the title almost said that SIG's on the brink of collapse or something just to get people clicking. And this
tell me that was a fairly loose Western Australian.
Definitely a Western Australian. Probably not on your Christmas card list, Nige. But then it came out that it was a scripted thing that basically said, hey, the products are good and they do pretty well, but I've been having to wait a couple of days to hear back from their tech support, i.e. Omnidian, which is a common complaint at the moment, not just with SIG Energy, but with every solution, right?
Everyone. It's mayhem out there. No matter who you're dealing with, you have delays. We are at peak battery surge. Jess will talk about it, I'm sure, but I'm hearing everyone is stretched to the limit. I was with a big wholesaler the other day, last week in Brisbane, who were talking about the fact that just keeping up with demand and keeping up with the technical inquiry level and keeping up with this massive shift from grid connected solar to I just want to talk about batteries. It's next level. It's one of the biggest surges and booms we've ever seen in this stuff. So no one's going to keep up. No one can.
And I'm really interested to see what it looks like in 3 to 5 years' time.
Oh yeah.
I think you make a really good point, Nige, in terms of like sheer number of inquiries. And then when you run a business that is trying to be responsible and make sure that you're not just giving cookie cutter solutions, it does take a bit of time. But most especially, we've been talking about this internally quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. The amount of time and effort that goes into a fresh solar and battery solution, way less than when you're trying to retrofit You're trying to make everything talk to each other, and you're thinking about, oh, it's a 3-phase house and we need to keep the solar going during the blackout because that's crucial for the customer and blah, blah, blah. And finding the solution that will tick all those boxes. And then you get to that point and you realize that the solar's on a shed that's 30 meters away from the house where the meter box is. And then you're trying to solve that problem. And, it's not necessarily an issue, but every single product has its own solutions for that kind of scenario. And, when you're doing so many inquiries and your brain's so full of numbers, you're just trying to make sure you don't make a mistake that's going to sort of screw your company over or your customer over.
Exactly.
Don't want to
That's a real issue. It's a real issue. I talked about Heather, who got 3 quotes recently, a friend of a friend back in Newport. My recommendation was, hey, there's a couple of local companies that you haven't talked to. I'm going to suggest you talk to them. One of them came through with an amazing quote. It was so interesting because she'd had 3. She got 2 more. One of them we just went, yeah, whatever. The other one, meticulous. It was so good, and it was simple, and it made sense, and they'd maxed the solar rather than the battery. They were trying to do the right thing by the customer. They had a number of options. It was simple to work through, and I said, pick them. Look at this. Here's a local company who's been at it for a long time, who are really working hard for you, and it's a little bit more, but you're going to pick a company that's down the road. It's exactly what you want.
For you and all of these important things. And I think the hard thing right now I'm finding is your customer coming to you and saying, oh, well, somebody else told me this. And it's crap, right? And so then you're trying to find your bloody sources to prove that you know what you're talking about. And it's just extra time and effort. And,
I've got a Jess. Go to the customer and you say, I'm the captain now.
You know what?
Captain.
I'll give it a go, Luke. I'll give it a go. I'll give it a college try, and I'll let you know my success.
But it's a fair point, though, Jess.
Yeah.
There's lots of voices, lots of opinions, lots of guidance out there. So
hats off to the people doing the right thing, despite the effort.
Yep. Here. And in a bad news story, Energy Renaissance, who were on the podcast earlier in the year, have gone into voluntary administration. So we had Brian and Ben Bishop was on the podcast at the time. Excellent story of an Australian company that's been around for 10 years, developing sovereign solutions, an Australian battery manufacturing. They'd worked with CSIRO. So it's not the end of the story, but it's not great to see, particularly in a market that has rebates and there's a whole conversation about a future made in Australia. It's not a good news story.
Yeah, it's a real shame. I wish they'd, are they up for stuff like the Sunshot and those sorts of grants?
I suppose so. But yeah, I'm not sure what the story is, but I saw that in the news and it's, not great. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on to some good news stories. We've got a guest today, and our guest is known to many of you, Blair Pester, who's the Managing Director of Winaico Australia. Blair's been in that role for almost 14 years, which is a veteran, I'm going to say, in this industry. And as I said, lots of you would know him from around the shows and for what he's done. But welcome to the podcast, Blair.
Thanks, guys. I'm really happy to be here.
It feels like an achievement to have you here, Blair, because I think we've caught up at so many networking events, and we'll be having a beer or having a chat or having a croissant and a coffee in the morning. And I think I've said to you every time, Blair, we have to get you on. So finally you're here. Welcome. And welcome to Karl Jensen. G'day, mate.
Perfect timing for Karl to come on.
Really?
I don't know if Karl's mic's quite working just yet.
No, he's muted.
The weather in Melbourne's just atrocious. Just taking me 2 hours to get from Dandenong to home. Crazy.
Even the lightning speed Tesla.
It didn't help. I could have walked faster.
Well, Blair was hoping he wouldn't have to walk through the Karl Jensen gauntlet on the podcast, but unfortunately, perfect timing, serendipitous, here he is. So Blair, just before we kick into it, do you want to just give us a quick brief about how you got into the industry, and we can just go through some of your journey first?
Yeah, right, cool. Well, I'm a Kiwi, so this isn't quite in the industry, but sort of follows the storyline, I guess. I came to Australia in 2000, designed a taxi camera surveillance system. So I'm an electronics nerd. and I designed a surveillance system for New.
Wait. You designed a taxi surveillance system? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. Now that was back in 2000, and so you know how in New South Wales you used to have to.
Yeah, they've got those funky big cameras in them.
Yeah. So I was part of that team.
Holy
And it
moly,
was
man.
a better option because it used to have the option was you had to have a big plastic bubble around your taxi, or around the people and the driver specifically, or have the cameras. And that all came about because someone going missing in Perth, and they thought there was a taxi driver who was killing people. And so we had to bring out this system, and that was what I did. So did that for near a year and a half. And then I taught English in Korea, and I think that those kids ended up learning less English after me being involved with it. But that was quite a random part of my life. Then I worked for a company called Siemens. Sorry, you didn't ask for a CV, but it does have a story.
No, that's okay. Are you in the market? Just
No, everyone's
open to
moving
work.
around at the
There's
moment.
a
That's
lot
how
of
it's
movement at the moment. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it is. Please keep going.
Yeah, so then I designed an access technology system for one of the tallest buildings in the world, which was Taipei 101. And so there's a connection between obviously that and this, and I was with a company called Siemens, which is a German company. And so had a Taiwanese root in that, and then went over to selling semiconductors. So it's tied to that whole nerd stuff. The electronic industry in Australia was collapsing, the telco industry was collapsing, and so I thought I better try and work on something else. And GFC hit. I decided to move away from making things that went into the ground and e-waste, and went to where was it? Suntec. I was at Suntec for 3 years, distributing their product, and it was great. I was the distribution manager. I found that I really wanted to try and get more involved with people, and with the process in that particular job, I had to deal with distributors, and I couldn't really talk to the customers because they're all very sensitive about how the relationship goes with the end customer. And so when I got tapped on the shoulder to start up Winaico, I was like, I'm going to create something slightly different. And so I built something that had more of a direct-to-market approach. So I can talk to people and have a relationship with people and pick partners and try and build a network of people to make my product. I was attracted to...
It does seem like Winaico is in a different stream, and you've successfully done that. So the equivalent products that have been able to manage that, I think REC early in the piece were able to be in this completely different stream, because at the time you had the European panels, and then you had the Chinese panels, and then you had just this differentiator, and it seemed that different story seemed to have a lot of merit to it at that point in time.
Yeah. I think it really did. And also just having someone to talk to. Not that I'm a great chatter, but I think that having someone that you can just pick up the phone to locally.
You're a pretty good chatter.
Every now and then. Yeah, the beer helps. So,
Well, I was going to ask, what percentage of business meetings do you think have happened in whiskey bars?
I was so
Roughly.
Yeah, Winaico
I
world.
was so tempted to instead of bringing beer to this event, actually sit here with a whiskey. And
You should this time.
I think if we were to rank establishments in terms of their influence on the solar industry,
Yes.
I'm going to put Augustina Keller in Munich. That's right up there. I'm going to put Baxter's in Sydney there, and Boat Builders in Melbourne.
very much big
Some of
institutions.
the biggest
sure.
solar deals. Yeah. Please keep going.
No, it's okay. A whiskey bars is a good topic though. It's actually one of my favourite things to talk about because it's a beautiful way to build a memory with someone, and you get a really good tax write-off to discovering really cool bars. So everywhere I go, I find them. I went to Bundaberg and found a whiskey bar called The Library. And so down on the main street, you have to push a library book back. And
Oh, cool.
And there's a nice little spot behind there.
Like a secret tunnel to it?
Yeah, there's one in Perth that's similar. That you have to pull a certain book, and then it opens the bar at the back of it, and yeah.
But surely you've been to Varnish on King in Perth.
That's the one down the basement, right?
Yeah.
It's super good.
An
I
institution.
think it'd be a better question to see if he doesn't know the whiskey bar that you can come up with.
Do you hang out with Shane Arnold very often?
Whenever I'm in Perth, I try to, for sure.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a good dude, man. He's one of the
also
most
another whiskey
resilient
guy.
guys in the market.
Well, I actually went out to the Dowran show yesterday,
Oh, yeah?
which is probably the biggest agriculture show in WA. So it's about a couple of hours outside of Perth. And you go out there and it's like double the size of the Royal Show.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. So they've got everything from, machinery to solar solutions. Shout out to Dan Bassett-Scarf and Jason
What a
from
guy.
Statewide. Yeah. And they also had the SSAA had a shooting gallery as well. So it was one of these days that, it's a work day, but you end up doing a gin tasting. You come out with a bottle of gin, some wine, some cured meats. And Shane and I went, and they had the air rifles at the rifle range.
After the gin?
So
What could possibly go wrong? Booze, meat, air rifles.
and we
Beautiful.
ticked the boxes, spoke to some
Put some
people
go
about
karting
solar.
in, for goodness sake, and a massage chair.
Did he do some boot shooting?
No,
There you go.
jacuzzi, right? Did you guys spend any time?
Were you there that day, Luke, when Bryn shot Steve Brocklehurst?
Yes. Yep. At Belmont at the shooting range. Yes.
Shooting
I
range.
was
yeah.
there.
Thought he'd been shot through the wall, but it had bounced off the target and hit Steve in the stomach.
Is this a legally broadcastable story? Or?
Yeah. It was unbelievable. Steve thought that he'd been shot through the wall by Brent.
Yeah. But he literally copped the ricochet of the bullet, and it did break some skin too. So it was a bit of a strange situation.
It's insane.
Jessica, just as a throwback to what life was like in Adelaide, when I lived there as a teenager, and I went to school.
Like horse and carriage. And...
Yeah. In PE, we had a PE teacher who was an Olympic rifle airgun shooter. What's the word? I can't remember. But anyway, so at the end of the day at 3:30, when we finished school, we'd go down to the gym, we'd get a bunch of guns, and we'd shoot the shit out of targets in the school hall. That was life in the 80s.
It's got a very American vibe to it.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's pretty good.
Certainly
Still
a
got some
different-
trophies.
Oh, nice, man. Very good. Very good. So, Blair, we were talking about your journey. So you came into Winaico. They tapped you on the shoulder.
Yep.
You had this opportunity, green fields for Winaico in Australia. So how did you approach that?
It was a pretty big challenge. It was quite funny, actually, because I was sitting in this apartment in Darlinghurst, and my wife is... my daughter's turning 13 tomorrow. And so she said to me, I had this interview, and I locked away in a room, and I said, they offered me the job. And she goes, oh, do you reckon you can do it? And I went, can't help but try. and
Give it a red hot go.
And
We're there.
So there you go. And I did. How did I approach it? Perseverance. I hired an awesome person. So I grabbed Kathleen Bryan. And she was in the pest control industry at that point in time. She had actually exited. And I was like, no, you're not doing that. And so I grabbed her back, and she and I went out and conquered as much of the world as we could in our position.
Good instincts there, Blair.
Yeah, oh man, she's fantastic.
You guys were an awesome duo.
So you went direct to market, though?
Yes. Yeah, so I had to set up, I've got 6 warehouses in Australia. Did everything direct. I had, I was dealing with some wonderful people. My first customer was a guy called Frog Solutions down in Wollongong. Still remember him. You'd remember John DeCarli. Caught up with him last week. I remember picking up Dane Muldoon and the guy from the Solar Guys on the day of my daughter's birth. And I was like, I'm sorry, I've got to take this call.
Wow.
And went and took it. And he's like, right, we're on. Let's do it. And that was fantastic. And so, I mean, every win that you get is like my own child. And so I remember every transaction that I've had over the past 13 and a half years. Each customer that I've dealt with, much to the annoyance of my wife, because I can't remember what I'm doing tomorrow. Well, actually, I do know tomorrow. That's a different one. That's my daughter's birthday, so I remember that one. But if she goes, "Oh, what are we doing this weekend?" I got no idea. I wish I knew. But
We're going somewhere, says Blair. We're going somewhere.
Yeah.
You
Oh my
always
God.
you manage to get around all the events.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that, Blair. In terms of the campaign trail, you're always there.
That's right. Oh, I love it. It's this industry's full of good people. It's got some rat bags every now and then, but the people that I engage with, generally with the approach that I take, I just deal with good people, and it makes me very, very happy to have a chat with them and find what they're up to and see if I can help out. Because I mean, for me, it's not a sell anymore. It's just being there and being consistent.
Well, the focus on selling panels seems to be less and less. So rewind 10 years ago,
Yes.
and selling the merits of the panel was such a big part of it. And you had, whether it was the technology of the panel, the company, panels are made in Taiwan and they're using this technology or whatever it is.
I
Whereas
don't know,
now,
Luke. I'm looking for some tier 1 panels.
yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. Whereas Nigel was mentioning the quote that his friend got, and they don't even mention the brand of the panels on half the quote. So it's lost. It used to be a big selling point, the panels themselves and the technology, and it's TopCon, or back when remember when mono perk panels came and we're all selling polys, and it's like, oh, we've got this latest technology and it's more efficient. Whereas now, the focus is more on inverters and now especially batteries, right?
It's all about the battery. It's it's wild. And people have.
So how do you get attention now?
Well, I mean, we're in a nice situation in that we have an insurance policy that comes with our panels, and that insurance policy actually covers. We've got this list of batteries that we do cover. SIG's listed on there. Craig from XS is listed on there. Power Plus. So we look after the ones that we care about and that we think are going to be good suppliers. And so that insurance policy is really relevant at the moment with the amount of batteries that are going on. Granted, I'm surprised at how little people are pulling old systems off and upgrading them. In this market, I would have expected that to have hit much harder. But I think that the installers have been just going, let's just smash as many batteries in as possible while this rebate exists.
I agree.
And they're not.
It takes time to take a panel, like the panels off the roof.
It does. And to your point you said earlier, you were like, you're doing all these quotes, you're trying to customize it and you're trying to get it perfect so that the customers, you're doing the right thing. But people are just using ChatGPT to whip out a quote. And
Jess, are you doing that?
No, my managers and boss are like, can you please use some more AI? And I'm like, no, I don't like the way that, like, I don't like how it looks. I don't want my customers to read an email that looks like that. I use it and then I end up rewriting the whole email. It's like a waste of my time.
I do it the opposite. A lot of my emails, if they need to have a certain tone or need polish and I don't want to edit it, I just type rewrite my email and I copy and paste my email.
Yep.
If you do it that way, it doesn't do a massive overhaul. It just tidies
I really
up
should
grammar
do
or
more of that.
clarity. That's how I use it. I use it for lots of things. Pretty much
I
everything.
should use it more. I really should. But like for customer facing things, I really don't. But I think to your point, Blair, that like, especially because it's such a big surge and there is such a race to the bottom, that there is a bit of a, people don't want to make their quotes any higher than they have to be, which is,
Yeah, no need for any AI. It's just 50 kilowatts and a 5 kilowatt inverter.
I saw that today.
Carl nailed it.
Nailed it. Yeah,
nailed
let's go hard.
Didn't you find an example this week, Karl?
I
We were
did
chatting the other day.
actually. I sent a heat pump quote to someone, and they said, customer got a battery installed the same day that they went around for the site inspect, and they'd paid
Oh, God,
$6,000 for an ESY Sun Home thing and 40 kilowatt hours, and you're just like, what the fuck? That's cheap. Damn.
6,000
Yeah,
for 40 kilowatt hours.
Yeah, crazy.
What?
I couldn't even do that on my own house.
I gotta say, Carl, I should have tagged you in a post this week because did you guys see the guy bragging about his 50 kilowatt hour Neo Voltex system with a 5 kilowatt inverter?
Yeah, bring it
My
on.
coworker pointed out to me that the bollards don't even match each other. That that bit bothers me more than anything else, I think.
Speaking of bollards, I have had a couple of good bollard conversations this week where people have actually used proper bolts and chem-setted them into the ground in scenarios where they think that it is actually possible for someone to hit it.
Wow.
Usually they just stick them to the ground with double-sided tape, Nigel.
Really?
Glue tape.
You're kidding.
Yeah, well, it's too much effort to put screws in. That's ridiculous. What do you want to do that for?
In good news, I just want to say that I have heard back from the agent here in the new place we've just moved into. The owner, Giuseppe, bless him, has said very keen on a heat pump, very keen on solar and a battery. Please go right ahead. The meter is good. The switchboard's good. And at the end of the 2-year lease, we'll have a conversation about whether I purchase it off you or whether you take it
Just
with you,
don't touch the button.
or whether we extend the lease.
Great.
So, yeah, we're ready to go. So my commitment is within 1 month of moving in, I want it all done so that for the 2-year lease period, that system will break even between the heat pump and the solar and battery system that I'll get in. It'll break even compared to paying electricity, and then I'll make a decision, do I take it or sell it, and so I'm ahead.
On you, Giuseppe.
Nothing's breaking even in 2 years, Nigel, in the 40 kilowatt hour, $6,000 deal.
I'm not doing 40 kilowatt hours, $6,000. I'm choosing. I've made a few selections already. I'm buying local. I'm buying some good stuff that I know about from Australia that I really, really like. That's got some features that I want. And I'll be talking to you about it.
The podcast.
Yeah, go on.
Talking to you about a heat pump, Karl.
Again.
Are you going to have to get your order in quick then, Nige? Because most good people are going to be booked out for at least a couple months by now.
I've got some strings I can pull.
I bet some favours that you can employ.
Speaking of stock and availability and so on, Blair, there's been a typhoon in off the coast of Taiwan, and it's apparently caused a bit of havoc with people shipping.
It's actually messed up a lot of the shipping. I've heard some battery guys complaining about having boats diverted and huge delays. No effect to me. So fortunately, I've got my warehouses, they're fully stocked. My new back contact product is getting on the water in a week. I don't care personally, and I've got warehouses full. So
it's good when it doesn't hurt you for a change. Yeah.
Is that the same back contact, say, as ACO?
Yes.
And some of the other manufacturers that are coming out with
Yeah,
it?
similar style. Ours is a bifacial one, so it's got glass on the rear as well. I've had, plastic back sheets are not great for the Australian market, just for the reliability.
Is that like a heavier panel, or is that with the thinner glass, like 1.6 mil, I think it is, on each side?
Yeah, you'll find most of the industry is going to switch to 2.2.
Okay.
The reason for that is just reliability. You can't get the hail loading out of a 1.6. We're getting a lot of breakages in the field, mainly in transportation. We don't know what happens in the field after the case. But in general, most of the market is only going to be supplying 2.2. Because those complaints are going back up to the manufacturers of the glass, and they're like, mate, just no. I don't care if you want a light panel.
Yeah.
No, because it's costing us too much money and it's affecting reliability. So, unfortunately...
Sandwiching a 1.6 millimeter sheet of glass and then some silicone and then some interlayers and then another sheet. That's a big lamination challenge, right, for long-term reliability.
What do you think, Blair? Is there maybe a 2 mil on the front, 1.6 mil on the back kind of scenario that could happen? Because 1.6 is fairly new, yeah? You couldn't actually pick up a sheet of 1.6 glass because you'd break it.
Yeah. I mean, it is possible, but generally the problem with it is that heat conductivity. Glass is a very poor conveyor of energy. And so if you have different layers of glass, different thickness of glass, when it goes through the lamination process, it doesn't heat at the same time. And so you've got problems in that. So it's
different thermal expansion rates as well, right?
Expansion and contraction is concerned. And also, I mean, we've found broadly that a lot of the industry is having issues with the fact that the back glass breaks, not the front. And it's because we've created these weak points, because we're drilling through the back of the glass to put the 3 junction box holes into the back of the module. And so it creates...
How do they do that?
Weak points. I don't know, magic.
Yeah, it must be.
Maybe lasers?
It's still toughened glass, isn't it? So they
Lasers.
do that before it's toughened, and then they toughen it.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they use laser cutting and then they toughen it, at a guess.
Spectacular technology. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. What do you reckon's next, Blair? Like, what do you reckon's the next frontier? Feels like 6 months ago, and we were talking about different coatings.
Yes.
But what do you reckon?
Yeah, look, I mean, we've gone back contact and are going to go pretty hard on that one. I think that TopCon is going to kick on for a while. Perk is dead in the water. Anyone who's using Perk is just the pure mechanics of getting it onto the solar farms, etc. You may save some money on the silicon, but it's being frowned upon in the cell manufacturers.
Perk.
Perk.
Really?
Yeah, it's basically gone. What we're going to see, my first back contact product is 1800, so it's quite large. The next generation, which is coming in March, is going to be 1762. The next level after that is going to be a probably HJT on top of back contact product. So we're just going to start layering technologies into it in order to get.
So where does the wattage sit for those panels?
So ours is starting off at 475. I'm going to be releasing a white back sheet version that's going to be about 490 in the same footprint.
So hold up. The bifaciality effect is actually a fizzy. Yeah, you're better off with a white back sheet in most scenarios. Yeah.
Oh, to classify, we call it white back sheet, but what we're actually doing is we're painting lines around the cells so that it's reflecting around those cells, but it's not a back sheet. It's transparent, so you can.
It's basically a clear back sheet with like marker lines. on it,
Yeah.
which
I
is
mean,
like
obviously, we're not using a texture to
a
do
grid.
it. It's screen printed.
So Sarah from Jinko, everyone's been doing that for a while, haven't they?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they found that I think there was only one manufacturer that was building with just see-through, completely see-through, and it didn't work out so well. Most of the glass manufacturers.
Yeah, Trina did that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Which it looked cool, but it
Yeah, Phono did
I
it
don't
too.
know. I think it's
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
0.0 whatever
Yeah.
percent.
Yeah, the Phono looked really good, but they used the 2 mil glass, and that was a tough sell. They were fucking heavy, 26 kilos sort of thing.
I feel like the bifacial effect from like an efficiency perspective would be like, especially when it's against a roof kind of thing, would be pretty hard to measure. It'd be, it'd add up over time, but it would be hard to measure.
Negligible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a bifacial LG, one of the very early prototypes that they brought into the country when they were really cracking on about a double glass thing. And I whacked it on my camper van, actually, because I've got a white fiberglass roof and it's up a little bit off the roof. And I went, oh, this will be good. But I can't say it's noticeably performed better than the rating of the module in its standard front energy format. It really hasn't.
Do you feel Blair, that it'd be good for degradation in the sense that, like, if it's laminated between glass, the micro cracks would be sort of resisted in a sense, like it'd have more structural integrity without needing your extra,
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and having it on the top of a camper van being bounced around for jeepers, probably 6 or 7 years now, on a fairly flaky aluminium mounting system that I made on top of a pop-top roof on top of a van. I thought it was a great test for the double lamination and whether any stress or damage would occur. There's no sign of damage or degradation whatsoever now, which is really good. But I'm not seeing any power benefit, but it's strong.
What about what about where you walked on it? Is there any like footprint marks that are in hot spots?
No, I've walked all over it. Because I've got roof racks and all sorts of stuff all around it. So I'm dropping canoes on it and all sorts of crap.
We should hotspot photo that, and then it'd be like when somebody gets a black light out in a hotel.
do a Dave Sharp. Put it on the roof of the cruiser. Cut the frame off it. Glue it to the roof rack, and then load it up with mallee root.
Well, listen, I can tell you that the pop-top roof on my van, made by Tracker, was originally designed for 2 BP 75-watt laminates to be siliconed in. It had a recess for 275 watt BP solar panels, laminates as we call them, they're frameless, just silicon them in. That was what it was built for, and I actually put some in when I first bought the van, and then I went, I've only got 150 watts, I can fit nearly 400 watts in the same space.
Put a
What am I doing?
475 in the same space today.
Exactly. And so I cut them out. And the other problem that I had was roof leakage, trying to keep that seal with a laminate and silicone was very challenging. And I spent many hours cutting and gluing and cutting and gluing. And in the end, I ripped them off and just bogged everything up and, put some glands in and put a whack and big panel on top. And so, yeah, that was stupid.
Butcher Award for 29th of the 8th goes to Nigel.
Hey, Blair, you mentioned 475 watts.
Yes.
Now, we know that a lot of the wattages have stalled at the point where they hit the perfect oversized number for a 5 kilowatt inverter.
Yes.
At your 6.66. So we saw that with 330s back in the day. We saw it with 440s, now 475s. But with the attachment rate of batteries, do you think it's as critical to be hitting those nice, neat numbers?
Yeah, probably not. In fact, the product that I'm bringing into Australia at 475 is a 480 watt panel. I don't know how long I'll be able to keep it as a 475 because we mentioned positive tolerances a bit earlier. We have only a 3% variation capacity that we can utilize to make a positive tolerance. I don't think many people care about 475s anymore. It was a very sexy thing for a while. But it's just not going to last, unfortunately.
Let's talk about positive tolerance then. So today on LinkedIn, I saw a video from Solar Juice and Rami, and he did a bit of a parody of, if you guys saw, Bob Catter was in the media yesterday threatening a reporter.
Was he
and
ever?
He was angry because, he has
Lebanese, right?
his relatives. Yeah,
Careful, he'll punch you in the mouth for
he's
that.
got
Careful.
Lebanese heritage. They came over 140 years ago, and he started yelling at the reporter, and I've punched people in the mouth for similar.
I've been here since the dawn of time, I think is what he said.
Yeah, he said that. So then Rami takes him off. He's wearing the hat and does it. And they're talking about positive tolerance of panels in the warehouse. Yeah. And they were saying that that's something that they have. They have positive tolerance on their panels. But then the punchline was, Rami said, yeah, but I'm proud to be Lebanese.
Good on him.
Beautiful.
So talk to us about positive tolerance.
It was wild. There was a lot of changes going on and people just trying whatever they can to market their product and stay relevant. And so the whole positive tolerance, negative tolerance thing came back to being a topic of conversation. We've always been positive tolerance, but when people were just wanting to say, keep up with the Joneses and their power classes, they just make a 470 watt panel and call it make a 450 watt panel, but call it a 470 so that they can tell people how great they are.
And they can charge more.
And they can charge more, yeah, because we all charge dollars per watt. There's many opportunities to pull the cover over the others. So.
And people feel like they can get away with it because it'll be in an array and that an array that's oversized to the inverter capacity. So who's going to notice that the array didn't fully light up until 10:35 instead of 10:30 or you know what I mean? Like who's going to notice the difference?
It was a nice interaction, Nigel.
Does he know that it gets posted? For all the listeners, I think Nigel's son just made a bit of a cameo, so you're going to have to check out the video. Sorry, Blair, go on.
Yeah. I forget the question. Sorry.
We're talking about positive tolerances, and I know this was a conversation I had with Glenn Morelli when I went to visit the Tindo factory, and he was saying all of their panels are positive tolerance. And then he was talking about, I know Choice magazine did some testing, and Tindo came out well above panels that were in higher watt classes because they go with a positive tolerance. And real field testing suggests that, they're miles ahead. And I'm guessing you've got a similar story for panels that are out in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, one of the things we're going to be killing at the moment, responsibly killing, is our system at Desert Knowledge has been performing exceptionally well for 13 years. So in partnership with PV Industries in Sydney, we're sending out one of their packing boxes for the responsible disposal of panels and we're pulling that thing off, and we're going to recycle it in Sydney and replace it with some really decent back contact, nice temperature performance product. Chuck that out there. It's time for an upgrade. Unfortunately, with the upgrade, we have to bring everything up to 5033, so that's not as much fun.
Well, it's an interesting case. I was chatting to Matt Wilkins from Venergy, your mate Jess, or one of you.
My mate.
No, he's also in Adelaide. Oh, he's all over the country now. So, Matt, we're having this conversation around retrofitting and having to bring systems up to 5033 in the context of batteries, adding batteries and changing inverters and that sort of thing. And he said that they do it. So a customer will go to a bunch of solar companies and they say, no, we need to rip off your panels and put new ones. And quite often customers will say, but they're still working.
Waste not, want not. Yeah.
Waste not, want not. And he said they have a look at it and they typically just say, yep, we'll bring the rest of the system up. We'll put some conduit through the roof and do whatever they have to do. Bring up the existing system, keep it there, and then integrate the upgrade.
It's not that hard.
You're paid by the hour, Luke. That makes perfect sense to me, mate. At the end of the day, it's billable hours, and if we bill the guys out at $130 and we pay them $55, then it's a good business to be in.
And better for the planet. The interesting thing is when I was talking to VV Industries is that they were like, mate, the amount of panels I'm getting here that are 4 years old, like 440s, they can't, which is annoying because they can't recycle glass panels very well at the moment. But yeah, they're getting a horrific number of panels that are really not very old.
A neighbour of mine actually worked with me at Energy Matters way back in the day. Went over to visit last weekend and he says, have a look what I've got in the shed. 6.6 kilowatt system, 2 years old, racking, panels, inverter, whole box and dice. Apparently the installer had ripped it off in favour of new system with battery. And he paid $50 for it. I'm like, winner. Gorilla Solar is alive and well because he's going to put it on the roof and no one's going to check shit.
I'm just telling you, on the chuck out pile in Newport, someone picked up a box full of N-phase inverters and a few solar panels and a whole bunch of cabling and a whole bunch of other stuff. I did bring the rest over here, but I've got to get rid of it. If someone wants a free system, I've got an N-phase battery. I've got some Envoys. Got a whole lot of stuff.
3.2ers.
Be very careful with that N-phase battery. You must connect it in a specific way or the inverter blows up.
Oh.
Yep, so I can't remember if it's the DC first or the AC first, but if you hook it up the wrong way, it'll blow up.
Wow.
Oh, right.
So only using accredited installer?
Read the instructions.
I want to change tact. We've sort of been talking about what's coming, but do you have any all energy bingo card predictions? Do you have any things that you're excited to see?
I get into solar every year, and that sounds like a humble brag, but it's not. I love grabbing the Australians who go over there and showing them the weirdest museums I can find in Munich, which Nigel and I have a story of.
So weird.
And I love going to that, and I like seeing into all energy. Into solar I go to so that I can see all of the the battery manufacturers that have exactly the same product with a different label on it. And I'm really interested to see what All Energy has to show in that regard. It's going to be all batteries this year. I can't imagine there'll be many panel manufacturers actually representing it because the market has been heading towards a recession for quite some time. And so I think that it's going to be really interesting to see what is going to be shown at it. I heard some statistics the other day. Obviously, Will's doing a great job with SIG. GrowWatt's still doing a fantastic job on their ones. But there is a lot of fringe battery installers out there with random products that are not well known, that are trying to cut their teeth on the Australian market. And
I wonder if Akai is going to have a stand there. Would they still have cassette
with a free Walkman
cassette player?
with every
clock radio, clock radios for everyone. I say.
Hey, look, we've been talking about how important good merch is, so maybe we shouldn't be so critical.
I want a clock radio with those little flip down numbers that rotate. You wouldn't even have known that.
I love those things.
Before digital, there was little flaps of numbers.
And it you don't need quiet noise at night. It just goes flop, flop, flop.
Flop. So good.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see All Energy. And of course, there's every year there's a breakfast
There is.
that Winaico and Catch Power hosts,
Yeah.
but it's a particularly special one this year because Kathleen Ryan is retiring, so she's having a bit of a shindig.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
It's actually just Kathleen's breakfast. Let's just get it clear. It's called Kathleen's breakfast, and this is the last Kathleen's breakfast. So you want to be very special to be on that invite list. It's going to be a
I think it's
cracker
going to be
event.
great. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing everyone and to giving her a good send-off. I got told I'm not allowed to provide champagne, though, which is very sad.
What if it's like a percentage of champagne in a mimosa?
Well, there you go.
Do we think we could?
That's creative. That's why you're here, is the creativity.
Is that the
Yeah, we're
first,
gonna- outside of the
first or
bank,
second
we're
day?
It's the first day.
First or second day? The first
Yeah,
day.
first day.
Okay.
We always have our event over at the Seafarers. We hang out with people, and it's just our opportunity to
Just across the bridge.
just cross the bridge.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest old building, but
It's cool though.
It's pretty
It's got
cool.
good vibes.
yeah. Well, it's
Reminds me of catching up with someone that I hadn't seen in nearly a decade at Intersolar. And I was walking past a stand and someone tried to, get me in to look at their stuff. And I said, look, I've just met this person that I haven't seen in a decade. They said, come over here and have a beer. Beauty, that'd be great. It was 9 o'clock. Thank you.
I gotta get to Intersolar. I gotta.
you gotta do it.
9 a.m. beers on the stand. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very different event. Huge, but it's just a different style. Here in Australia, they like to have all the events outside and it just strips all of the people. But in Intersolar, they just grab everyone in, and there's a lot of booth parties, and they're just trying to get people to hang out as much as possible.
There's DJs, bands,
Yeah.
there's all sorts of stuff. I love Intersolar. Yeah. So we're going to wrap it up shortly. Normally we just go around and get last comments from everyone, and we'll start with you, El Capitano.
Thanks. I'll get used to it eventually. I'm pretty wrapped up. I think just brain empty from the sheer volume of people and things and numbers, and yeah, as I often do, I just shout out the good people and hope that everyone's taking care of each other, and making sure that when we're really stressed that we're trying to see the best in each other, in your own spaces, but especially online. We can just kill it with kindness a little bit more, I think, would be my finishing comments today.
Isn't that Carl's signature online? Killing them with kindness.
We're killing it, maybe.
Last comments, Carl.
For me, it is be very careful lifting gear. So one of our team has a bit of an injury from moving batteries around in the warehouse, because we're all moving lots of batteries, and it looks like it's okay to shift it from there to there, but it turns out you can't do anything with a battery. You always need help. You always need a good plan to move it from A to B. And at the end of the day, I envisage that he probably wasn't the first, and he sure as hell won't be the last. And we don't want to be injuring anyone at work, so just be super careful lifting your batteries.
Good call. Good call. Industry legend Nigel Morris.
Shout out to all the solar renters like me who lug around boxes full of aluminium connectors and joiners and rail and
Yeah,
panels.
there's a lot of you out there for sure.
Oh my God, it's a pain in the ass being a solar renter, but it works. And, this is the fourth house that I will live in as a renter. Didn't get solar on the last one, only 2 years, wasn't enough time, almost there. But still got the gear, and, so shout out to the solar renters.
Well, while you're there on that, Nigel, those Enfos, just put a 10 amp plug on them, buy a few power boards, and you can plug them all in individually and lay them out in the lawn.
Carl, don't encourage me.
Hey, mate, I've done it. It works great.
I've done it too.
It's electrical tape, mate. Make sure you seal those plugs up into the board.
Yeah, bit of tape,
Silicon.
cable,
Don't
easy.
lick
Very good. And Blair Pester from Winaico Australia. Great to have you on board finally.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have
Any
been
last
here.
comments?
Last comments for me, I'm just, it's been 13 and a half years. All I've just wanted to be here. And here I am. So thank you so much for having.
You've really made it now.
Yay! I'm in the big times. So thank you so much, and stay safe out there, guys. And look forward to seeing you at All Energy.
Thanks, Blair. Thanks, team. And thanks to you for listening or watching. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.
Tired of scrambling for CPD points at the last minute? With Southwell Solar Training, you can earn all 100 points for your accreditation without leaving home and without wasting time on boring, irrelevant courses. Our online training is practical, compliance-focused, and designed by industry pros who've actually been on the tools. Learn at your own pace, get your certificate instantly, and stay compliant without the stress. Check out the full course list now at southwellsolartraining.com.au and get your CPD the easy way.